Hi, my name is Alice Boll. I run the membership group at ScrapHappy.org. This month we are doing a challenge called LOAD. It's the Layout a Day challenge, and our theme is board games. We're talking about the classic games that you know and love. So I was really excited to get assigned the topic. Well, I assigned myself, but to have the assignment of doing the board game Sorry. So let's have a quick peek in the box. I love the little game pieces that come with a storyboard. I thought we'd take a quick look at the cards. They are colorful on the one side, but they're quite simple on the inside. There's just a little bit of texture looking background. And then we'll flip open the board and take a peek inside that. And of course, when you're playing Sorry, you have your starting spaces, the little starting circles with your characters, your tokens, your players, and then you chase around the board and you get to slide on those arrows along the edges, and that is a super fun part of it. The slides are the best. And so I really want to incorporate some arrows onto my page today. And I was just looking at some of the texture in the center of the board. So now we've got a little bit of inspiration from the game. I'm going to pull out my papers, and you might think, Alice, these are not the colors at all compared to that board game. What are you doing? I thought you were drawing inspiration from Sorry. I promise that I am. However, I'm not using the same color palette. So, for my story prompt, it was to talk about a time that you had to apologize or wish that someone would have apologized to you. And of course, for technique, we're going to use arrows on the page. So you may have noticed that some of these papers were scraps and leftovers from other kits. This background with the flowers wasn't, but this other piece was. And so sometimes when you're working with some leftovers, you make a few compromises. But I think these two papers, they're not even from the same collection, but they went together so well. And I just imagined like this kind of semi split page and with pieces from the opposite papers overlapping. So I've grabbed my X-Acto knife and I'm cutting out some of those plants so that the flowers can overlap onto the other colored background. And then the white paper actually has a little quote at the bottom of it, and I really wanted to incorporate that across the other side as well. So I've cut it out so that that can kind of sit over the bottom of the paper as well. The quote says, "There are exactly as many special occasions in life as we choose to celebrate." The pink paper was from Stamperia, and the floral paper is from Penelope D, their Victoria collection. So then I had this idea that I would love to add a little bit of texture to the page, but there's no way I'm going to fit paper this big through an embossing folder. So I just thought, okay, I'll do my best to put the embossing folder on a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom. I'll try to use like a bone folder or something so that I can push down. I don't know, maybe I could have found something better than a bone folder, but it wouldn't fit through my machine. So I just thought, well, I'll do the best that I can with it. And then I used a really fine grade sanding paper to sand the top of it. And there was enough texture that you can kind of see these little horizontal diamond kind of pattern that I added to the background. And it looks so pretty. It's the perfect little softness. And anytime I can add a little bit of texture like that to a page, it just makes it so much better. So the main photo of me for this page is a 4x6 picture of me right after I got my hair done with some new color. And so I had a before and after photo with actually a little picture of my hair up in all of the foils when it was being done. And I sized them so that if I cut them just right, they would actually size to sit all three pictures right next to the 4x6 photo. I had also gone for a color analysis, and I was told that I am a light summer color palette. And so, although the shirt that I'm wearing is a little bit bright, I wanted to try to embrace some of these lighter colors in not only the clothes that I'm wearing, the makeup that I have, the color of my hair, but also in some of my scrapbook paper. So now that I have a base of my page created and I have the photos ready, it is time for me to wiggle things around and move things around until I find the spot that everything belongs. Now, because of the color of my shirt, I pulled out these purple acrylic stars, and I love them, but I just didn't love the way that they felt with the soft, pretty flowers and the soft background. I did love the acrylic that says Picture Perfect. It's from Colorcast Designs. It was lovely. I thought to add a little bit of roundness, which also brought some softness. I went and found a doily, was able to put that in the background. I really, really tried to use the acrylic arrow that says today, but every place that I tried putting it, I didn't like it. There is another one on there that says love, and I was able to use that one. I wanted to use it in a way that it was a little more subtle so that my title was the first thing that drew your eye. And every time I tried putting it somewhere else, it just drew all of the attention because it was so bright. So while I was trying to figure out what to do with the stars, I had tried playing with a little wooden heart, and I had colored one of them white or mostly white, and I thought it was okay, but I wasn't quite loving it. So I actually wanted more hearts, so I went and found some more hearts. And then I thought, ooh, I have a fun idea. So you'll see that I actually color the hearts. I use some white ink and then I use some of the purple ink to ombre them. I'll show you in a second. And oh my gosh, that was so good. I also found some different acrylic stars to use on the page. Now they're soft colors. It's like a light purple, a light pink, and a kind of a white. And that was a much better fit with the soft color palette. So here you can see I've pulled out my Distress Oxide inks in order to ink up those wood veneers. And once I've got the first color, like the light purple on it, then I go in with the other one just with my fingertip to kind of ombre in some of the darker tones of the purple. And I kind of check it to see if it's kind of standing out against the background and against the photo. And I don't want them to be overwhelming, so I didn't want them to be the dark purple color, but this little bit of ombre just adds such a nice texture, and I felt like so smart with doing them like that. Also on that bottom heart, you'll see there's a cute little bow. It's tied with some purple and white striped ribbon, and it looks absolutely adorable. I will tell you, I had a very hard time tying my bow because I was trying to wrap it around the heart. A heart is that angular shape, so it doesn't want to sit there and doesn't want to stay there. I finally added a foam dot to the back, which held the ribbon in place, and then it was a million times easier. So I learned from my mistake, and there's a good tip for you. And so now you'll see me dipping the end of a paintbrush into my glue bottle because the little squirty ends always get jammed up, and I've just given up on that now. So now I just dip a paintbrush end in there. It's just a cheap one, like dollar store paintbrush, and I just use that to apply to the back of things, like especially like acrylic pieces. It actually works way better than anything else, and that was good. Now I pulled out a couple of purple pens in order to do my journaling. I want this all to be pretty monochromatic, and after I tried them to see which one had the better shade of purple for the page, I get my journaling added, and I wish I could write it that fast. That would have made it much easier, but it turned out really good. I'm able to tell the story. And then I'm looking at the page. I add my date. Go me. I always forget to add dates, but I didn't this time. I decide to add a little, kind of like a little mini subtitle right above the journaling as well. And then I'm thinking, oh, great, this page is all done. Look at me go. I got it all done. And then I'm looking at the journaling that I wrote, and it's really not about the apology. I had the whole idea in the beginning of my head in the beginning, and then when I was doing the journaling, I got really distracted. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? I wanted to include my sorry, not sorry story, which I'll share with you in a second. But yeah, so I totally forgot. So in the end, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add some more journaling right underneath where it says picture perfect. And that turned out perfectly, actually. The journaling on the right says, oh yes, after having my colors analyzed, I was told that I'm a light summer. Not only should I wear light pastel colors, but my hair will look best when it's an ash color, whether brown or blonde. I've been really wanting to get my hair colored, and now I knew the perfect shade. It turned out so beautiful. And now in the extra space that you can see me journaling right now, or doing the lines for the journaling, it says behind the scenes. Jonas didn't want me to get my hair colored, but I love it so much, so I'm glad that I did it. Hashtag sorry not sorry. I kind of love it when pages have two separate stories going on, and although these ones are very connected, it really feels like separate stories, and I was able to tell both of them on one page. And I just feel like that is like the best way to get extra stories told without having to do all of the creating to make a whole separate page. And, I might not have made a whole separate page if it was differently. So I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I like the way it flows around the page too. So now we can take a look at my day 3 page for LOAD224. I'm so thrilled with how this turned out. I'm also thrilled with how my hair turned out because that was just great. And I really am not sorry that I finally got my hair colored because I think it really suits me. So hashtag sorry not sorry. Here's my challenge to you. Create an apology page of your own. What kind of story do you have to share about an apology? Was it one that you had to make or one that was owed to you? And do you like using arrows on pages? Normally, I fit so many more arrows on pages. Actually, this is quite lackluster in the arrow department, but I love the page anyways. I'm happy with how it turned out. So a few less arrows than what I thought it was going to end up with. I'm okay with that. Hashtag sorry not sorry. Tell me about your apology pages. Tell me about using arrows on pages. And have you ever used paper from Stamperia or Penelope D? I'd love to know. If you'd like to get in on the next load challenge, each one only runs once. So right now, the only way to jump into game night is to become a ScrapHappy member, which you can do by going to ScrapHappy.org. And if you want to get on the email list so you'll know about the next load challenge, it will take place in May. So you got to sign up before then. It's not open for registration yet, but you can get on the email list so that you will find out. Pop over to scraphappy.org/subscribe. I hope that you have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for taking time to watch my video, and happy scrappin'.